Hello, 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 and welcome back to Versus. We're back on Canadian Highlander, and this time around we are watching a match between James and Dunc. We've got legendary humans and a Jund pile. The Jund pile being exactly what it says on the tin. It's a Jund pile. A lot of value, a lot of removal. And legendary humans, we have an expert on the legendary humans deck with us today. So, hey James.
Hello. Yes. Now I get the joy of watching all the mistakes I make in a game. So that was fun. But yeah, the legendary humans deck is either a slow aggro deck or a fast mid-range deck. I'm not quite sure which. Got a lot of legendary humans in it, as you might expect, and trying to pay off some of the synergies that you would get from those humans and those legends and all the weird bits of text wizards like to put on things that can be people's commanders.
Yeah, nice one. What are your pointed cards?
Moxen, 2 Moxen, and a strip mine.
Okay, and then the Jund deck is 3 Moxen and a Tainted Pact. So.
Yeah, it's a bit of an awkward one, as this is a 5-color deck that has to play both Wasteland and Strip Mine as colorless lands, because it does just collapse if my opponent plays a Caracas, because I cannot really do anything about the 0.
Oh yes, of course. If your deck has the word legendary in the title, then Caracas is going to absolutely hose it.
Yeah, exactly. So we can watch, as I say. I can already remember a mistake I made in this game, so I'm sure that'll be fun. But, so this is one of the things I enjoy about this deck is everybody looking at the cards and going, "What the heck is this? What does it do?"
I was about to ask that about this one.
Yeah. So Basim, it has actually shown up in some artifact decks as well because it just triggers off of zero cast artifacts and things like that. So it's a nice chips in for a bit of damage, does draw you some additional cards. Reasonably statted, 2 mana 2/2, unblockable's nice ability.
Wow. Looks really strong.
So it's just a nice little way to start off, really.
It's quite the engine.
Yeah.
So it just needs to be removed, right?
Yeah. I mean, if they can't answer that, something like 58% of the cards in my deck are legendary creatures. So I think it goes even more than that because you can add the 2 Moxen in. So it's probably 60% of my deck is going to trigger passing. So we're not quite that, but it's a high number. So it's definitely a lightning bolt for lightning bolts, as it were, if Dunc has removal in his hand.
Are there any of the Assassin's Creed cards that have made waves?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Not really. It wasn't one of the more high-powered universes beyond sets. I've actually got quite a lot of them in this deck, just because there were a lot of legendary humans in it.
Okay.
That's my particular niche for this deck.
Yep.
But not really. I think there was one of the weeks I first played this new version with all of these Assassin's Creed cards in them. Someone actually laughed out loud at me when I cast Ezio Auditory da Firenze. I think I was chatting to Dunc after this game, and he was saying that a lot of these cards look really silly on their own, but when they all do things together, it can just snowball. And that's kind of the point. This deck, like I say, it folds to Caracas, folds to a lot of interaction, which Jund has a lot of. So I'm quite fortunate that Dunc hasn't had me here as of yet. Because if he just goes removal spell, I'm in quite a lot of trouble because I can't get my synergy going.
You need things to stick for them to all trigger off one another.
And we're going to start off with the error that I talked about that I can remember making in this, as I managed to resolve an ETB trigger before a cast trigger, which is definitely not correct.
I see. Okay.
We do manage to fix this on my next turn when I realise what I've done wrong when I read Basim properly again.
So you've changed the order with the scry.
Yeah. Thankfully kept them both on top, otherwise this would have been hellish to fix.
Yeah, okay.
Just move them around. So Basim obviously got card draw, which he should have done, and so what the scry did was it put this Yoshimaru from second from top to top of my library. Basim then drew me that. So
Yoshimaru should not be in play. Okay.
Yeah, I shouldn't have had a second spell to cast this turn. So it wasn't great because it means I don't get to play a tap land or anything. I played this Caracas, but it's not too hard to fix. Next turn I can pick it back up again. But you can see kind of what my deck's trying to do, right? There's a bunch of legendary matters, humans matters, just trying to curve out and get ahead of my opponent. Help that I was on the play. Got some card advantage to keep going. And as I say, a Jund pile full of things like lightning bolts and thought seizers and grists and just all kinds of things that are inbuilt, interact with my opponent so they can't do what they're doing.
Generically good interactive magic cards.
Exactly. I've been quite fortunate here that he hasn't had any, so I've already drawn a card off Basim.
Yeah, I'm already seeing that this is it looks like a very snowbally style deck where if enough things stick, you're just too far ahead.
Yes, and this is me now reading Bassett and
Yes.
realizing that I have made an error. So I think we basically just pick up the dog. Imagine I drew it this turn instead of the 3-drop that I actually drew and couldn't
Makes
cast.
sense.
And as
Yeah, like
I'm,
you said, easy fix.
yeah, exactly, pick it back up again. So I have resolved that issue. Although I do now appear to be not resolving a Bastion trigger and drawing a card and just going to fetch off of Doric. So I've done great. This Bastion's kind of confused me a bit, I think.
You've been, yeah.
But I think I was a little bit excited. But I actually really love this Doric card. It's one of the few non-mana dorks and non-really cheap legends that is not human.
When it
and it's
enters,
just
search for a forest card, put it onto the battlefield. So you just get a surveil land or a triome. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
And you can pay 2 to transform her when she
Yes.
attacks.
And she flips into a 6/6 Visions trample that pumps all other legends +2/2 and trample. So it's a really big swing.
That's silly.
Yeah. Sadly, one of the ones she would have helped pump is now dead. Basim. There's a Dunc being a little bit punished for slow rolling the removal. I got an extra card here. Well, I didn't actually because I forgot to draw it, but I should have had an extra card here that I didn't pick up. So between the two of us, it probably worked out as it should have done if 2 actually good Magic players were playing this game of Magic, while it's just me and Dunc just hanging around and doing our best. But yeah,
So Abrupt Decay could have come down on turn 2 to stop the.
I don't know if he had it on 2, so he played the screws on 2, but he could have just played it on his turn 3 rather than waiting for my turn 4 end step. So
Yes, that makes sense. Yep. When something says instant on it, it's rude to actually cast it in your turn, I hear.
Yes, exactly. it's just not the done thing.
Wasteland for Caracas.
Yeah, Caracas, although horrible to have against me, is a nice little trick for me, just kind of a bit of protection against removal. It's not great, but it does turn lightning bolts into unsummoned.
Yeah.
This is quite an aggressive play here from Dunc, and it is representing quite a lot of damage. This is swinging for 3, and now that I've lost Basim, like I don't have a super fast clock currently. So I'm pretty certain I spend a while here thinking about whether I should trade this Doric off. I don't. And just kind of hope for the best in terms of my draw. I know I've got a 1-drop and a 3-drop, so I can put 2 more legends onto the board. It's just
right. And you know that thing turns into a lot of damage.
Yes, exactly. It definitely has the potential for a lot. So like, it's a hard balance to do. Like I feel in this match I should slightly be the aggressor because I think I am just a slightly more aggressive deck than John Pyle is, but. Lelia is a big clock. If he can follow this up with a questing beast next turn, or like just some fast, hasty green-red thing that does me a bunch of damage I wasn't expecting.
One thing I know about you as a style of player from Limited, at least, is that it takes a lot of effort for you to play an aggro line.
This is about as close as I will get to it. And you can see it's aggro with a bunch of memes as well. So, but there's a bunch of nice synergies here. So the Yoshimaru actually coming down properly now, getting its counter. This Inquisitor Greyfax is this is a kind of recent addition to the deck as well. Really powerful. Like it's a Lord only for power, but it also gives them vigilance. So it kind of I drew the
horrible
Greyfax.
Here. That's horrible.
Yeah.
That just means Dunc can't race you anymore, which was his kind of plan based on the attack previously. Yes,
exactly. So it also has a tap ability for just 1 mana as well. So it's just a bunch of words on it. It's just what will happen. You'll see on a lot of these cards. There's just a bunch of words on these that when you put all of the words together is really annoying. But this is exactly the type of thing I was scared of, right? It's a Minsk and Boo questing beast style creature.
Yeah, just a scary card.
Yeah. A lot of power and toughness and damage directly to my face. And there's not a green up. There's no creatures to eat in a bin anyway, I don't think. But both the Lelia and the Boo are bigger than, are big enough to trade off with my biggest blockers. And the Scoos is a sizable threat too.
This is a very aggressive line, considering you've got a creature that can flip to do a lot.
Yes, and I think what Dunc might not have realised is the extra power that dog is going to give, because this is not an attack for lethal. I'm going to go to 2, I think, off of this. So I can just take it all and just kill him on the crackback.
Yeah.
I think I might not quite have calculated in the Doric damage.
What does Doric on the backside do again? +2,
This
+2.
is, yeah, +2/+2 to all other legends,
Yeah,
and they gain
that's.
trample.
Yeah, I suppose that's one of the downsides of the flip cards is it's not visible exactly what they are, and it's kind of awkward to be like, right, what does this actually turn into? Show me the backside.
Yeah, I'm just playing extra legend here just for an extra point of power, and then, as I say, spend the 2 mana to flip it. Do a brief bit of maths. Don't realise it's all gone poorly, and
Yeah.
scoops it up.
And this creature transforms. Other legendary creatures get +2/+2 and trample. Okay, yeah. But then
And that's the thing
it goes back again. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so and that's the thing. That's why I'm chatting to Duncan here. I think he's like, you don't want to hold back and block because you can't block 3/3s into this. So he wanted to be aggressive, but I say when the aggressive just leaves you dead on the crackback. So it was a hard spot for him to get out of there. The Grey Fact was a really big draw for me.
I wonder whether the abrupt decay did kind of need to go at your Assassin's Creed card just from the value point of view, but you weren't like Dunc wasn't dying to it, just falling too far behind from a card value point of, like a value
Yeah, exactly.
point of
I
view.
mean, the Decay wouldn't have got Doric anyway because she's a 4-drop.
Okay, yeah, of course.
So it just depends a bit on that. But yeah, one of the things that historically people struggle with quite a lot on 5-color decks is the mana base. Like 4-color is pretty easily doable in Canlander now. 5 is rough.
Right.
I discovered that when I was first trying to build this deck before I went more all in on humans and gave myself things like Cavern of Souls. Yeah, those types of. So there's a bunch of. You can kind of see it there. My mana base, my mana in his hand is
You've got
so
Strip
dumb.
Mine and Wasteland there, is it?
It's 5-color deck with 2 colorless lands and 2 5-color lands, and its opening hand. I think there's a reflecting pool in there as well, maybe.
So unfortunately, as we go to game 2 here, Dunc's having to mull down to 5.
Yes. Yeah, that's pretty rough. And I remember chatting to him, and he was like, "My 7 was like a bad 7, but his 6 was just appalling."
Right.
It's one of those rough situations where if you'd have got the average 6, it would have probably been better than his 7. But variance being the Punisher that it is, not giving him a break. But I say there's a lot of 2-for-1s in Jordan. There's a lot of value, and again,
Yeah,
if you can just
recoverable.
if you can just stop me snowballing, then that's solid. So if he's got a good start here, then it's possible.
You just topped like one of the best cards that you could have topped as well, right? You were missing lands that tapped for colours.
I was to an extent, but the way I've done this is really awkward. So I've had to play Unclaimed Territory and name Elf, so I can cast this land or Elf for a green. But I've also got a Cavern of Souls to name humans, so that Tundra definitely does help 100%. I'm pretty certain I could cast my 3-drop on 2 if the Elf live, and my 1-drop as the Elf. But then the Tundra lets me just keep going and save these wastelands and strip mines to actually punish Dunc if he does struggle to get out of this multi 5.
Yep. It's pretty horrible staring down those lands when you have mulligan down to 5.
Exactly.
So is this your own brew then? This
Oh yeah, 100%. This is no one. Well, that's not true. I'm sure some other people thought this kind of nonsense. This is exactly what I like to do. I like just playing stupid decks with a bunch of cards that people have never heard of. And
For example, what the hell is this?
Gilwayn Casting Director. This is like a borderline playable mid-range card. It basically puts rolls on all of your non-token creatures as long as it's on the battlefield, which is really powerful. So it itself is a 3/4. It can either be a royal or a monster, I think. But I'm sure, knowing me, you can appreciate that I never name monster.
I was going to say that's the. So what are the different roles then? You've got royal roll is
Royal is Ward 1.
ward.
Sorcerer is Scry 1 when it attacks, and Monster is Stronghold, and they all give +1/+1.
Yeah.
But I say here, there's not really a great attack into a 1/4 Fnatic of Rona, so just giving the ward for Gilwayn so it can keep having value as it comes down.
Yeah.
It's really positive for me. And like Dunc's got his mana sorted here, so the wastelands aren't looking great. If he's got a good follow-up, I can't quite. Yeah, Fable is a good follow-up. Yes.
Interesting decision to play the Shockland tapped there and not keep the Vronas untapped.
Yes, that's probably fair. And he loses a point of damage because of it, so he has to take 3 from from the Gilway. And this is a
Yeah.
fantastic example of something I love doing with this deck, is playing a card like Lara Croft Tomb Raider.
That's a magic
Completely,
card?
that's
What?
a magic card. And not only that, but making Lara Croft Tomb Raider a sorcerer, completely non-ironically, is a thing my deck does. I don't know if you've heard it on the thing, but I'm pretty certain when I say I cast Lara Tomb Raider, my friend Eddie's just decided to be just literally, again, laughs out loud at the things which I describe. So this
So-
is why I find this deck.
I think there was a card Tomb Raider that I always called Lara Croft jokingly, but I didn't realise that she was actually a card now.
It's a recent secret layer. There's not many. I think this is the only functionally, technically unique card that came in that set as well. The rest of them
Right.
would be cold. Dunc looks like he's struggling for black here, though. He's pitched Thoughtseize and another black spell. And obviously, with two, I've played a Thalia as well. There's two first strikers. So Goblin's not a great attacker, which is what you really want it to be, so it can start getting you that treasures.
I wonder what the
He's other-
decision. So the fetch at the beginning was to go and get the tiger, right?
Yes.
What I wonder why not getting black at that point.
I have to assume he didn't have another green source and had to play the Fanatic and then just top decked the Stomping Ground.
Right.
Because otherwise, like,
Yeah.
Dunk's a better player than that. He's not
Yeah,
just
yeah,
going to
yeah.
not black source if he's. But then again, you can see the board, and that this wasteland now represents destroying the black source he hopes to get. I mean, the birds is obviously a black source that is, also there. But again, the wasteland representing denial. He needs to start top decking like 2-for-1 interaction really to stop, because I am kind of snowballing. But if I remember rightly, I don't cast anything this turn, and I have definitely. Although I'm ahead on board, I'm not feeling super on top of it. Especially if Dunc had actually had a full hand, I would not feel great here at all.
Got you.
The Multified and Wasteland are a nice bit of protection to an extent, but I just, you can kind of see it now. I think there's still a Strip Mine as a fetch and something else in the hand. So I'm leaning a lot on what's already on board.
Which is
and you can see,
quite a lot, to be fair.
yes. And it's and you can see what I mean, just all the weird words, like Gilwain just randomly giving things extra power. Like Lara Croft Tomb Raider just making treasures to really help with fixing, help with a bit of ramp. Again, it's just a high 3/4 for 3 is with added words, just a good rate. Like Thalia is also really powerful. I, for some insane reason, decided not to play any non-creature spells in this deck. I think because I'm playing Ancient Ziggurat. So Thalia literally only
Oh,
taxes
you're not
2
playing
Moxen.
any.
No, I have 2 Moxen, and that is it. It's 62
Wow.
lands, 62 creatures, sorry, 2 Moxen, and 36 lands.
Incredible.
Which is always nice.
I do really like this style of deck where you've just shoved a load of cards that only really work in your deck. I think I might have mentioned it before, but I love the idea of I'm not just going to play the 50 best cards and then add some synergy pieces. This is like full on. I'm all in on this theme, this strategy. Let's go with it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a funny one as well, because at one point in this deck was 4 color legends rather than 5 color legends. It played objectively good cards like Uro and Quest Beast and Minskambu and things like that. I was just like, they're boring. Everyone plays them.
And you felt like you were cheating.
Yeah, exactly. I need to find a way to play like Kambal and all of these like
Now
weird
we're
legends.
talking.
And I don't think it comes up in this, but I've also made quite a lot of effort to represent as many different IPs as I possibly can over the course of this.
Well, you can kind of see we've seen. I mean, Tomb Raider. What is
The
it?
Dracula version of Thalia as well.
Warhammer, Dracula.
I think this is a Lord of the Rings card coming down as well. Yes, again, you can see the human synergies coming down here. Like, none of these cards particularly look like they should synergize together particularly well, but this AMR is randomly a 6/6. Now,
Yeah, I love it. Like, it does look like a right mess, but
yes,
like your opponent will be looking at it going, "What the hell's going on? What are you?"
yeah. And that's the thing. Like, Dunc didn't do anything on his turn, so unless he's got a good instant kind of speed stuff to do, I can't remember what happens here. He does have an abrupt decay for Lara, so which is obviously good, but just the board state is still powerful.
Did we not need to pay the ward cost on Lara?
She was a sorcerer. She is not royal.
Ah, of course.
She's just nobility, Lara. She's not got the whole way.
Alright, fair enough. Easily killed.
And one interesting thing here as well, once I'd killed the Kiki Jiki, is that I felt the need to strip mine that shifting woodland because Dunc did now have Delirium. I think that just highlights shifting woodland, a really powerful land. Really, just really cool things you always have to be doing.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, because you're holding it for the black source, but then that land ends up being.
Yep, exactly. Emperor of Bone's a good one. Like if he just had another black, like the lack of resources and stuff, meaning he can't just get this Lara.
I really feel for Dunc here.
Yeah. And AML was a very good draw. Got the monarchy happening. Got me out of kind of a clutch of lands and put a lot of power on the board. Obviously, like AML is basically lethal forever now, unless Dunc gets a lot of life going in. So I've obviously helped a bit here with what I've drawn. But again, I'm still like if you can like Dunc can get a 2-for-1 or 2 in here and start to stabilize, start to get some value out of this Emperor, then that's potentially really strong.
I'm assuming you don't play board wipes or anything in this format.
You do in some, like my control deck runs Dam and Toxic Deluge and Terminus. So the more control decks definitely do play board wipes.
Okay.
I'd be very surprised if Duncan has any because he has too many threats himself.
Right.
Doctor Who, just to add to the IP, this is
yeah.
certainly not a card I don't think I've ever seen anyone apart from me ever cast.
My favourite creature type there, the alien dog soldier.
Exactly. But again, it's really powerful. 5/5 Vigilance Trample Haste that puts a counter on every other every legendary human, every human you control. Sorry.
On attack.
So it's just,
Wow.
yeah.
And it's got Vigilance, Trample, and Haste for some reason.
Yeah. It's just got so many words on it. And earlier on in this day, I was playing against Grace, whose Foo Fight deck I think you've had on before.
Yeah.
And she was basically making. I can't remember the maths. There was Academy manufacturers and making double foods and all kind of nonsense, and she went up to an absurd amount of life. But we still managed to fight through with just an absurd. Neither of us drew removal, an absurd amount of interactions, and it just shows like the type of levels. If you can get these synergy decks to work together, even if like you got some individually weak cards, it is powerful. And yeah, Dunc literally being attacked for lethal here, forced to chump away the Emperor of Bones, go to 2, lose a Fanatic. So. This is I'm feeling very good here.
Wow,
Obviously,
this is just game over, right? Yeah.
All
All right. Well, quick one, but thanks for joining.
No worries,
Appreciate
mate. Always
it.
a pleasure.
Catch you
Cheers.
next time. Bye.